Welcome. I am Grace. Welcome to Analytics Practice 3. We're going to be doing some hip openers and hip stretchers. The postures we'll be practicing today are the Baddha Konasana or butterfly posture, Agnistambhasana, which is our fire log posture, Anjaneyasana, lunge pose, Urdva Mukha, Pasana, which is our threading the needle, blaster pose, Utthan Pristhasana, which is lizard pose, Mandukasana, frog pose, and Kapotasana, pigeon pose. So we are going to begin our first posture, Baddha Konasana, and we are going to begin by bringing our soles of the feet together. And depending on your flexibility, you can bring them in a little towards your groin or bringing them out a little, whichever works for you. Resting on those sits bones, we're going to open up the feet like a book. And we're going to press those knees down towards the floor. And then we're going to inhale, extending and elongating the spine. And with a straight spine, we're going to hinge at the hips. The spine is not going to round or fold forward until your hips say that's about enough. And we can just rest here in Baddha Konasana for a few breaths. There's a variation to bring the arms and allow the arms to reach forward onto the floor for a little bit deeper stretch. You can engage your bandhas, and let's take 3 deep breaths. Remember, those knees are pressing down towards the floor. Back is straight. One more deep breath. Beautiful. And releasing, bringing the hands back to the feet and hinging back up for our Baddha Konasana butterfly posture. It's also been called bound angle or even cobbler posture. It strengthens and gives flexibility to the hips. And it also strengthens the stomach and the bladder. And we are going to move on to our next posture, Agnistambhasana Fire Log posture. So let's begin in our staff posture, extending both legs out. This posture is a hip opener, and it also brings some flexibility to the hip and the groin. Hands are right next to the hips on the mat. Both feet are straight out in our staff posture. Feet are flexed. And we're going to move that left leg out to the side a little bit. I have my blocks for a prop. And we're going to take that right leg and we're going to bring it so it's 90 degrees alongside the mat. Beautiful. And the foot will be flexed. And then we're going to take that left leg and we're going to stack it up. This has also been called knee to ankle posture because the ankles are going to be stacked right on top of the knees. Both feet are flexed. You can see there's some room here, so I have a little flexibility issue. You can use a block or a cushion. Just enough room for a cushion there. Beautiful job. And feet are actively flexed. The knees are aligned with the ankles. And we can stay right here in this posture, or the option is to come forward. Now we can come forward to the floor or to a block. We can have the block high up. We can have the block to the next level. We can have it down to this level, or we can come all the way down to the floor. I am going to use the block at this level. That feels just about right for me. And let's engage those bandhas, and let's take 3 deep breaths in our Agnistambhasana Fire Log pose. Back is straight. One more breath. And on the exhale, we can release and begin to hinge up. Release that prop. You can release the cushion if you needed it. And we're going to go over onto the other side. So we're releasing those legs out to the front. Take that left leg and bring it in so it's right in alignment with the front of the mat, with your mat. Feet are flexed. I'm going to take that right leg and I'm going to stack it right up onto the left leg. So my right ankle is on the left knee. Right knee is above the left ankle. Both feet are flexed. And you can use that cushion or the prop if you need that. Inhaling up straight, and then we're going to hinge forward. You can bring your hands down to the floor, or if you'd like, the block. Engage those bandhas. Keep those feet flexed and breathe. Straight spine. One more nice deep breath. And on the exhale, let's hinge back up, releasing the block, releasing the pillow. And we can straighten those legs, bring them into a seated position, and we can move into a child's pose if you like to integrate the posture. And coming up, we're going to move into Urdva Mukha Pasasana, which is thread the needle pose. Benefits, it relieves neck and back tension. So we're going to move into a tabletop position. The wrists are right below the shoulders and the knees are right below the hips in our tabletop. And we're going to inhale that right arm up to the sky. We can engage that belly a little bit as we exhale, bringing that right arm right underneath the left armpit and resting the entire arm and right shoulder onto the mat, bringing the side of the right side of the head to rest on the mat. And you can leave the left hand where it's at, or there's some options to bring that left hand to rest on the sacrum. That left arm can reach up to the sky. It can even reach up above the head. I'm going to reach that left arm to rest on the sacrum. That feels really good for me. And let's take 3 deep breaths here. We have Xander with us now. Yay. One more deep breath. And to come out, we're going to bring the left hand onto the mat, press into the left hand, lifting that right arm and extending it back up to the sky and bringing it back down to the mat. And we are going to go to the other side. So we have both sides balanced. Inhaling up the left arm, up to the sky, pet the cat on the way. Exhaling that left arm down through underneath the right armpit, resting that left arm on the mat, the left shoulder on the mat, the side of the left head face on the mat. And the right arm can stay where it is on the mat, or it can rest on the sacrum. You can extend it up, or of course overhead. I am going to rest my hand on the sacrum. And let's take 3 deep breaths here. Last breath. Beautiful. And to come out, we're going to bring the right hand onto the mat, pressing into the right hand, lifting that left arm up to the sky, and bringing it back down into tabletop. And we can come down into a child's posture to integrate the pose. And coming back up into a seated position. And our next pose is Anjaneyasana, which is a lunge pose or crescent lunge pose. Benefits of this posture is it stretches the hips, the glutes, and the quadriceps. And we are going to begin this posture. We're going to go from tabletop to the down dog. So let's come into our tabletop. Curl those toes under, pressing those hips up into downward facing dog. And let's lift that right leg up behind us. Bend that knee and bring that right foot next to the right hand, in between the hands. And the feet are parallel. They're like railroad tracks. We're going to micro bend that back knee and bring the hands up to the knee. And straighten the back knee, bring the back heel to the floor, engage the abs, torso's over the pelvis, squaring those hips. Which way we might bring that left hip a little teeny bit forward, and let's bring those arms all the way up, lifting them up overhead, squeezing those thighs together a little bit. And let's take 3 breaths here in our Anjaneyasana. Knee is right over the ankle. And let's breathe. Last breath. And a variation is we can actually drop down. You can bring those hands down to the floor, and we can drop down to that knee, that back knee, in a nice low lunge. And when we're in this low lunge for a variation, we don't have to worry too much about the knee coming forward to the ankle. It's not going to damage our knee. So we might want to actually hinge forward a little, bring that knee back a little and hinge forward, and then lift up. So we hinge forward, bringing the hands to the knee, so we can get a nice stretch on that psoas muscle. It starts here, comes all the way down, connects here in the groin and inner thigh. And give that a nice opening of the psoas muscle. So hinging forward a little bit, and let's take 3 deep breaths in our low lunge here to stretch that psoas. One more deep breath. And release. Beautiful job. And we're going to go to the other side. So bringing that front foot back into our tabletop position. And we got our Xander here, which I think we can work around. He's so comfy, I hate to move him. We're going to curl those toes under, lift the hips into downward facing dog. And we're going to take, what leg did I put forward? The left leg up to the sky, bend that left knee, and bring that left foot right beside the left hand in between the hands. Micro bend that back knee just a little and lift up to the front knee. Beautiful. Feet are parallel like railroad tracks. We're going to now bring that back heel to the floor. That back leg is going to straighten out a little bit. We're going to balance so that torso's right over the hips and square those hips. So now the right hip may move a little bit forward. So those hips are squared. Can engage that abdomen, those bandhas, and let's bring those arms up. Knee is directly over the heel. Maybe a little bit behind the heel, but we want to make sure that it isn't forward of the heel. Let's engage those bandhas and take 3 deep breaths in our Anjaneyasana lunge pose. One more deep breath. Beautiful. And we're going to come down into that low lunge. That's a variation. Bringing the hands down to the mat. Bringing that back knee down to the floor. Relaxing the back of the foot to rest on the floor. Nice, Xander. And we can even bring that back knee back a little bit. Bringing the arms up to the hands up to the knees. And let's hinge forward a little, feeling that stretch on that psoas. And let's take 3 breaths here. Beautiful. And bringing the hands down to the mat. And we're going to go back into our child's posture to integrate the pose. And we'll move into our next posture, which is blaster pose. I'm going to come this direction. And this posture opens the hips, and it's also a nice stretch for the hips. And we're going to come into a nice deep low lunge like we just were. To our low lunge here. With the right foot up in front, left leg is back. And we're going to place the hands on the inside of the foot. So the right foot is forward and the right hand is to the left of the right foot. Now we can stay here. An option is to come, oh, sorry, Xander, to go down to the forearms, or we can come down onto a block. Whatever works for your flexibility. I'm going to come down to my forearms. You can clasp those hands. And let's engage those bandhas and take 3 deep breaths. One more breath. Beautiful job. And we're going to come up, bring in the hands, the mat, bring in that right leg back, and we're in our tabletop again, and we're going to take that left leg up front in our blaster pose. Bringing those hands now to the right of the left foot, so they're on the inside, and we are going to bring those elbows down. Clasping the hands and breathe. Remembering there's an option to come down to a block. One more nice deep breath. Beautiful job. And coming up onto the hands, and let's go into our child's pose to integrate that posture. Beautiful job. And coming up out of our child's posture, we are going to move into Mandukasana. Mandukasana is frog posture, and there's a couple variations. So we'll do both variations. I'm going to do the first variation now. This benefits the thighs and the hips. It also helps digestion and massages the internal organs. And so we're sitting on our heels. And we're going to make 2 fists with the thumbs curled in and the fingers rolled around the thumbs. And we're going to take the fists and we're going to bring them on either side of the navel against the stomach. And we're going to press gently yet firmly into the stomach. Going to inhale deeply as we open the chest, elongate the spine. And as we exhale, we're going to bend the body forward. And remembering you can bring your head down to the mat or a block. And we're going to take 3 deep breaths here. Last breath. On your next inhale, coming all the way up. And let's rest and integrate the pose in our child's posture. Child's pose. And coming up, we are going to do our Mandukasana, frog pose, our second variation. And we are going to begin in our tabletop posture. Wrists are right below the shoulders, knees are right under the hips. Beautiful job. And we are going to take those knees out as wide as your flexibility allows. So take those knees out as wide as your flexibility allows. And then we are going to take the feet, we're going to point the toes outward. And we're going to take both feet wider than the knees. Kind of feel like a frog in this posture. It's beautiful. And let's take the hips and move them back towards the heel for a deeper stretch. And for an even deeper stretch, an option is to come down onto our forearms or a block. And let's, with keeping those hips going towards the heels, let's take 3 deep breaths. One more breath. Beautiful job. Coming up onto the hands. Bringing those feet in and the knees in. This is a beautiful benefit. It's a deep stretch to the inner thigh and groins. And let's move back into our child's pose to integrate that posture. And coming back up to seated position. And our last posture of the day, today, we are going to be doing Kapotasana, pigeon pose. This brings flexibility to the hips, stretches the lower body, and it also stretches the stomach. And it improves digestion, and it can also relieve some back pain. So this is a great posture. There are 2 ways to get into this posture, one from tabletop and one from down dog, and I'm going to show you both. So let's begin first with tabletop. So I will do my right side in tabletop and the left will do in downward facing dog. So what we're going to do is from tabletop, we're just going to take that right knee and we're going to drop it right next to the inside of the right hand while we bring that left leg, extend it back behind us with the foot pointing towards the back wall, out, stretching out as far as we can behind us. And then we're going to take this right foot and move it out from underneath our thigh, and can move the hands to the side a little and move it over. So it's ultimately 90 degrees to the front mat. I am not that flexible. I can't do that. So this is where my pigeon pose is. And then you can use a block, because the one thing with Kapotasana is you have to watch so that not to roll the outer edge of the hip out like that. You want to keep straight. So I like to use a block or a pillow right under that right hip to keep me straight. Bringing both palms in front of the body, and this can be your pigeon right here. Variations and options are to come down onto your forearms in your pigeon, or if you'd like to extend the arms out in front of you and bring the head down to the floor, that is an option too. And let's take 3 deep breaths in our pigeon. Last breath, and let's come back, bringing those arms back right out in front of us, and we're going to release the prop if you have one, and we're going to switch to the other side. So we're going to come back up into our table posture for a moment, and for the left side, we're going to move in to downward facing dog, curling those back toes under, pushing into the heels, lifting the hips, downward facing dog. And you can take that left leg, you can kick it out behind you, bring that knee And we're going to actually open the hands a little, and we're going to bring that knee right directly. If you can get it 90 degrees, that's perfect and beautiful. I can't, but let's get it as aligned to the front of your mat as possible. Again, using that block, sorry Xander, scared the kitty. Using that block or that cushion so that you don't roll to the outer edge of the hip and you're straight. And we can bring those hands, and this can be your pigeon. You can come down the forearms, or you can bring the head down and reach the arms out. 3 deep breaths. One more deep breath. Beautiful job. Walking those hands back up. Releasing any blocks or props. And let's come back to a seated position, just a simple cross-legged pose. And finalize this analytics practice. Let's just close our eyes, ground into the body, bringing the awareness into the body, scanning the body. Breath awareness. Send yourself gratitude for this simple practice. And let's bring the hands in front of the heart in Anjali Mudra. I honor the place in you in which the entire universe dwells. I honor the place in you which is love, light, truth, and peace. When I am in that place in me, and you are in that place in you, we are one. Namaste. I am Grace. You can go to ecstaticyoga.studio for more asana practices.